Hey guys, I'm back with another booster box update. Let's get started. The trend that I'm seeing with the booster box today is kind of that Sword and Shield is getting a little more activity, and it's pretty much I'm seeing more sellers just kind of like offload their box a little bit. Not necessarily huge offloads, but you're definitely just seeing more sales. And so since I take the lowest listed price when I do these spreadsheets, there's a lot of price drops when you look at it from that perspective. Like you see Scarlet and Violet has all these red over here, and for Sword and Shield, there's actually not much difference. So if you just look at the prices alone, it doesn't really show the whole picture, but that is the kind of current data. And then when I look at the demand charts, I'll notice Sword and Shield, like some of the boxes that haven't been having much activity as far as buying and selling, like suddenly more sales have been happening. So I think that in this case, this kind of reminds me of like financial advice. You want to buy when others are fearful and like not buy when people are greedy, something like that. But so yeah, that's why I want to go through some of the actual listings to show you, hey, this is what the current market activity goes through. It's not necessarily huge sellouts, but I definitely see like yeah, there's people who are just adding like, oh okay, I want to sell my box $5 below, and blah blah blah. So like Paldea has dropped below 230, it's now at 226. And I noticed that there's this B Vault cards. They did this with Obsidian too. They have just these lower listed Paldea boxes. Not a ton of them, like 8 boxes. I'm guessing some of them were already bought. Let's see. That would be 220 on over here because they don't count shipping. Actually, I don't really see them being bought. But Paldea still had a good amount of demand at 9. But once you get rid of these, it goes back to 230, like that's 229.86. So this could be the start of either, boxes going down, or it's just people like playing random sales. And during like this short time period, there's just, some cheaper boxes that people are going to buy. Before this, one of the big issues was that like Devastation listed a bunch of boxes a couple of days ago, and their listings go down to 10. I don't know if they have more, but it definitely made sure the Paldea stayed around 230. And for Obsidian, B Vault cards are the same thing. Like before, the relevant seller was King's Game, which had like 18 boxes at about 215, and now they're selling for about $5 at some market. This is 211, which usually 215. Obsidian has been selling only like about 5 a day, pretty consistently. You see the 6 here, 4 here, 5 here, and so officially it's dropped to about 211 instead of its normal 215. For Scarlet and Violet, it's a little on sale right now. So it's been hovering around the 195 mark for a while. So 194.94 is a pretty normal price, and it's had potential to break that to 196, 198. I think it's actually done that once or twice, but couldn't really sustain it. And now you see over here 2 boxes for 191 and 2 boxes for 192. So it's just a bigger drop than we've seen in recent times. Scarlet Violet's been a little more consistent lately. And yeah, with this selling rate of 3 boxes per day, you're just seeing some people offload some more boxes. So again, I'm not sure if this is just a temporary sale or if this is like a sign that more and more people will flood the market. It's also probably a little dependent per booster box, to be honest, unless it really is a major crash. The 3 boxes that was a little more optimistic about, at least for I guess today or whatever. Paradox, Temporal, and Twilight. Paradox at 199.99. The demand was pretty terrible. Honestly, 2 boxes is the lowest I've seen ever. At least this month. But those 2 boxes were bought $200, and this is the last below $200 box over here, $199.99, and it goes straight to $200. So Paradox is extremely close to breaking $200 despite the really low demand. And yeah, I keep wondering if it's because people don't expect Paradox to be reprinted at all. And a lot of people see it as undervalued. I know Rudy mentioned a lot of months ago, he said the first 4 boxes of Scarlet Violet are the ones that are at least likely to get reprinted. I know they technically did get reprinted, like Paldea, they technically got a little reprinted, but we saw that once, and like pretty much no change. And temporal dropped back down to about 198.97. 3 boxes, again, like a little bit lower demand than normal. And yeah, as I said before, there's more temporal boxes before 200 than Paradox. Right now we're at 7, 10, 14, 17. Yeah, 17 boxes until we get to even just 200. So temporal is still doing kind of decent in terms of close to 200, but there is a lot more resistance right now than Paradox if I just look at the pricing. And temporal, I'm not as surprised. I mean, Twilight, I'm not as surprised it going up, even with really bad demand or relatively low demand. Yesterday was 6. It's still increased in price, and yeah, I still see it increasing in price. So I'm definitely seeing people targeting more Paradox and Twilight right now, and temporal like a little bit less, but still to some extent. I still see Twilight going up, despite all this like market scare experience, and it could even go to 220 soon. Actually, Stellar Crown is one of the boxes. Yeah, like on sale, like it dropped below 200 for the first time in a really long. I can't remember the last time, and it's mostly because there's this one seller over here, Solacia in town. I think that's like a game town. Um, Only a couple boxes sold too. That's pretty bad. But after that, it goes back to 2 or 3, which is on the low end, but still a normal range. So we'll see if it continues to go down. But right now, yeah, there's a box that's a sale. And sometimes the good or bad thing about the sales is that sometimes they are from lower known sellers. So people will skip over those boxes because they don't trust those sellers. And so they'll just remain, like when you look up Tissue Player, the first price you see is that seller. And while I'm here searching Sparks, it's at about 250. I'm not really worried about searching Sparks, so maybe people just won't open it. The mandate dropped back down to 11, but that's kind of normal. Searching Sparks goes down to like 235, 230, I guess maybe, but it just always bounces back. And then for those Sword and Shield boxes that I mentioned with the different demands, I think it's more the later sets. But let's see, Rebel Clash. I don't know if I just did an accounting error or whatnot, but it went down like $10 even though there's no sales. I have a feeling that someone like this Rab just lowered the price or just entered it in wrong the first day. For Darkness Ablaze, there's one box sold today, but it dropped to I think 210, or it was 210 already yesterday. Yeah, Vivid Voltage also just one box sold. And then the first start that we see more buy activity is actually Battle Styles. So I remember Battle Styles went to about 180 yesterday. I think it was yesterday. Yeah, it was 181, and I think the seller had like 10 boxes or so. And yeah, I think that most of them have been bought up already. So yeah, you see more buying activity. Like 7 were bought yesterday, 4 were bought today, and you just see a bunch of like 180 sales. So I think a lot of those cheaper Battle Styles boxes have sold out. And it was only like a $5 drop. And Chilling Reign and Evolving Skies, they've had a slowdown lately in terms of demand, but their prices are still remaining at their higher points of about, Chilling Reign's at 332 and Evolving Skies still at 1360. So they're kind of remaining where they are. I don't know, I'm kind of holding my breath at this point. If there's no other sales, like it should probably drop. But if we do see another sale, then yeah, they will continue to sustain their price to go up. But I'm a little surprised that especially for Evolving Skies, it's just sustained this price. Like it seems people really have established like it should be 1360. I have seen more sellers list their box though. So like there's this 1351 I mentioned yesterday. That's a picture listing, and yeah, the gap between like to 1400 is larger now. There's just more sellers here listing their boxes at 1360. And if no one buys, then eventually one of these sellers is gonna like say, I'll undercut you by a few dollars at least, and the price will go down again. So Fusion Strike, one box sold. It's still kind of far away from 500 to be honest. And yeah, Brilliant Stars, they added more sales. You see 3 boxes sold. It's been, no, there were some random spikes, but like 3 boxes a little more for battle styles, and I think it recovered just a little bit back to 290. Yeah, it was at like 287 yesterday. Astral Radiance, which had like pretty terrible sales this month. There was especially this gap here where there was like literally no sales between the 21st and 26th. Three were bought today. So, and it's still about 270 despite having so little demand. So I think a lot of the cheaper boxes at 270 were just sold. And then Lost Origin, yeah, 4 boxes were sold today. It's still kind of stuck at its, no, I said like below 380 is really cheap for Lost Origin, and yeah, people are taking advantage of these sales. And Silver Tempest over here, demand's picking back up. There's 4 bots, and the current price is 275, and there's quite a few boxes at 275. Alright, that's it for today's video. Thanks guys, bye.